Hey, boys and girls, this is Wildman was here, and I'm doing a review of the whole Summerslam weekend from NXT to SmackDown. I'm not going to go through all the matches on every show. I'm going to just give you my thoughts of the whole 4 days of wrestling and pluses and my minuses. So, first off, as always, NXT is always the better show out of the two. The matches were just excellent. The only match that was kind of off was EC3 and The Dream. That was about it to me. All the other matches were pretty decent. Not decent. All the matches were great. Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane. To me, that was my favorite match in NXT. They were going back and forth. And I like how Kyrie just used her smartness because she's not the biggest person in the world. And Shayna was just overpowering her most of the match. But her spirit just kept on having her fighting. And she got the NXT championship. And it just felt really, really good to see a baby face actually break down after winning the match. That was just excellent. The Ciampa and Gargano match, I liked it a lot. I didn't care too much for the ending because it kind of made Gargano look like a buckethead because he basically had the match won, but he had to go a little bit too far. And Ciampa took advantage of that situation and took the title. People were still mad, but hey, it was still a hell of a match. The tag team match was great. Ricochet and Adam Cole was a great match. I was surprised that Ricochet got it off the top just like that. So we'll see what's going on with that. The show went by quick, so I was glad about that. Didn't drag or nothing. It was just match after match. So NXT was the best show out of the 4 days, I feel. Then we go to the actual SummerSlam. Even though it was long, it didn't feel like it was long, so that was good. All the matches was paced out pretty well. Daniel Bryan and The Miz killed it. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe killed it. Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler killed it. That was really the only truly good match on the Raw side was the Seth and Ziggler match. We all know Ronda was going to just come in and squash Bliss. That was like almost common sense. So that match went as long as it needed to. So that was good to see. What else happened on that joint? The tag title match was okay, even though they redeemed themselves with later on with SmackDown. So we'll go with that. At least the SmackDown. The Raw joint didn't mean nothing because it was on the pre-show. So Nakamura and Jeff Hardy, that was a good match too. So that was good. No interference. So that was good to see. The main event, Brock versus Roman. Basically, this was just Goldberg and Brock at WrestleMania over again with my man Braun Strowman coming down there in the beginning of the match to make it feel like that Braun was going to cash in so it would make people happy. They had Braun keep out there because if Braun wasn't out there, people would have been crapping on that match all day. It only lasted like 6 minutes. So it was almost like another squash match for real, to be honest with you. Because they ain't really do much. Brock and Roman only did like 2 or 3 moves apiece between each other. Strowman was trying to be a hero and not be like cashing in like everybody else. So Roman wins. People was kind of cheering a little bit because they was just glad to see the belt back on Raw. But then after they realized that Braun was not cashing in, the fans was not happy. You wouldn't know because as soon as Roman put his hands up, they cut the show off. So you ain't hear the boos like I did when I was in the arena. So just the Roman agenda keep on rolling on. Then we go to one more thing. We had Corbin versus the Demon Finn Balor. Everybody was happy about that. That match was just another glorified squash match. Also, the KO and the Braun Strowman match was basically a squash match too. KO really didn't even do anything in that match. So, all in all, SummerSlam was a good show. Had its messed up parts. And also, I really like the SmackDown Women's title match as well. Charlotte didn't really need to win, but since they doing the whole heel turn with Becky, that makes more sense than anything else. Then we go to Raw. Raw was blah because basically all this was keeping people from booing Roman. So, hey, the best way to not have Roman get booed, even though it didn't work, let's give Finn a title rematch for his title, even though we all know Finn wasn't going to win. So make Reigns look kind of like a hero, but they basically messed up at the end because they basically had the Shield come back after Braun was going to cash in, and basically a waste of time. So you making Roman look like a chump because he got the title, but he can't defend it on his own because the Shield is gonna come save him every time he's about to lose the title. So that makes all three guys look weak after Dean and Seth has been doing so good without really being with Roman. So that's a waste of damn time in my eyes. So wasn't really nothing really to talk about on Raw because it was 3 hours worth of nothing. Stephanie grandstanding over everybody, making basically the women's roster not looking important other than Ronda. So I'm glad Ronda whipped her ass and supposed to broke her arm. We know she didn't. So Stephanie overshadowing everything as always is boring and annoying. And Corbin is now the GM because Stephanie fired Kurt. So Kurt gonna be gone a while, I guess. It was nothing really to talk about on Raw. Raw was a blah show. But let's go to SmackDown Live. In the 2 hours that they had during that show, they killed it. All the storylines progressed. Everything made sense. All the matches were decent for the ones that they had. Jeff Hardy got his revenge on Randy Orton was cool to see. New Day is the tag team champs once again. That's also cool to see because they put on a hell of a match with the Bludgeon Brothers, even though we found out Rowan had messed up his arm. But it didn't really look like that during the match, so good for him toughing through it. They basically did a heel turn with Becky, but the fans really ain't hearing it. And Charlotte actually came out there and they had a brawl and they had a pull apart. And the pull apart was actually better than the one they did a couple of weeks ago with Roman and Lashley. So big ups to them. Nakamura talking crap. They further AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe just came out that joint, and man, he is really pushing the storyline with AJ and his family from what happened with SummerSlam, where AJ basically went ham on Samoa Joe after Samoa Joe was talking more trash to his wife that was in the ring, that was ringside during their title match. So Hell in a Cell seemed like it's going pretty cool. Bryan and The Miz are continuing their feud, and they gonna bring the wives in it as well. So that will be interesting to see during Hell in a Cell. All in all, SmackDown was a much better show than Raw, because all Raw is the let's keep the fans from not booing Roman, and that's getting irritating as shit. And a lot of people don't like it, but you had a few sheep that don't know no better and will just follow anything that Vince gives them. And the Reigns fan base is one of the worst fan base in wrestling right now, because they just can't take you talking bad about their boy, because he's very limited in the ring, and he's just so boring. Same old moves, and they need Ambrose and Rollins to cover up all his flaws, and people just keep on falling for the nostalgia act of the Shield. So if they don't turn Shield heel, it's just a waste of time, and I don't think they will. But this has been a few good days for WWE wrestling wise, other than a little bit bumps in the road, but that's it. That's my review of the whole